Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Gemba 360 legal compliance session run by Kaizen Synergy Law Firm. I'd like to welcome you all to today's session. Today's session is a repeat of the sessions we've been running over the past few months now, and we will actually be continuing this session and extending it into next week as well. Today's session really focuses on the psychosocial laws. Now, with this said, we are going to jump through some of the background of what the compliance obligations are, because there has been a focus for agencies on getting the summary information and also essentially taking this information and then using it within their agency as well too. So that said, we are going to walk you through what the legal obligations are. Some of these have already commenced. And what does it actually mean for your agency? Now, we are going to focus these specifically on not-for-profit agencies. So whether you are an education provider, for example, based in Victoria, whether you're a disability NDIS service agency, I can see a lot of agencies joining us from around the country today. Also for agencies providing health services, and I shout out to Rural Health Tasmania down in Tassie as well too, who's also joining us as well. A lot of agencies from around the country are looking at what does it actually mean for these new psychosocial laws? What and how, what do we need to implement for our agencies? And what are the core requirements that we actually need to know about? So that's what we're really going to cover off today for you. As always, I will add that we have also sent out emails with login details. Now, if you're already using the Gemba 360 dashboard, I will show you this as well too. You do have access to these resources already. A lot of agencies over the past few months has started to use our legal resources. These give you the key documents that you really need in terms of meeting your psychosocial laws. And I'll walk you through what these are almost straight away during the session. So essentially, when we look at things like psychosocial laws, one of the big questions that agencies ask us is, why do we actually need to worry about this? Now, essentially, under your ACNC's governance standards, there is the requirement for you to manage your legal compliance obligations. And it is a duty that actually sits with the directors and officers of your company. So one of these now includes the psychosocial legislation. As always, we'd like to pay our respects to the elders past and present upon the lands on which we all meet. While this session is being run by webinar and recorded, we do pay our respects to the traditional owners accordingly. So when we're talking of managing psychosocial laws, what do we actually mean by this and what is actually covered? Well, essentially, let me just walk you through what the obligations are and what you need to be aware of. Now, I will come back to the legal resources, but I am actually just going to show you what the required changes are and what these require from you. So essentially the expected changes, and I'll show you in summaries what these are, is that there are changes to the work health and safety regulations. And essentially this means that it covers any factor or factors in work design, systems, management, carrying out of work or personal work-related interactions that may arise in your working environment. So whether you're a health service, a registered school or NDIS provider or the likes, that may cause an employee to experience one or more negative psychological responses that create a risk to their health and safety. So what we really focus on, and as our law firm has provided advice to other agencies just like yourselves, is what is really important in this definition is that may cause an employee. So not something that will or something that has, but actually it's a may cause requirements. So when you unpack this, what this actually covers is things like bullying, sexual harassment, aggression, violence, exposure to traumatic events, high job demands, low job control, poor support, poor organizational justice, low role clarity, poor environmental conditions, remote or isolated work, poor organizational change management, low recognition and reward, or poor workplace relationships. So you can see under this definition, the net is incredibly broad for your agency. So when you look at that, and your obligations as an employer is to ensure that your agency manages this particular requirement. So essentially, agencies then literally turn around to us and go, what on earth do we do here? Well, essentially, when you're looking at how do you actually manage these psychosocial requirements, what we've actually looked at was a range of legal resources. And let me just jump to these now. So essentially the legal resources that you can see, and we've got a list of them here. So one of those is a memo. If I just walk you through these, memo to inform staff about what the changes are, a policy document to show you how to actually manage these requirements, a risk register to manage incidents and identify things that may cause, not just that have, looking at how you actually update this risk register, and also an incident reporting form, along with what we've called a code of conduct document as well. So let me just jump in and I'll show you exactly these resources that everyone's talking about. So you can access Gemba by going to our website and going to gemba360.com and clicking on the link, and you can find other information here. This will take you to the big blue button screen. You will, or you should have already been sent a login to access Gemba. Now from here, you can jump straight into your dashboard, and I can see a few questions already coming up. Now, what you do have is access to these resources, and let me just walk you through these. Now, if we were to just jump back to the slides, you can see that we've got the memo, and let's have a look at where these are. So on your notice board, you will find that you've got a memo posted up to you. When you click on that, it will be a post-it note, and essentially what you then see is a summary. It's a legal update. It's what our law firm usually issues out once a week, and it talks about what the summaries are. So essentially, what is the requirement in terms of the psychosocial laws? What does it cover? There's a picture of me because I wrote it. And also in this case, what is the extended requirements and inspector powers? What does it cover? And also right down to a list of recommendations. And each of these recommendations gives you an access to some of the tools. And as I mentioned, things like e-learning, risk registers, incident forms, and policies. So let's just have a look at where these are for you in order to locate these. Now, essentially what agencies have done is to access the dashboard, and let's have a look. So we've got the legal memo. What you've also got on your dashboard is the incident reporting form, and you can click on that by going, oops, someone just said, where do I go to that? You can go to the risk management button here. This will open up the incident form. You can see that here. And when you bring that up, what you'll see is this form here, and you just click on the incident form. Now, this is for your agency to be able to use. It'll ask you, obviously, who's reporting it, so their names will come up, which state you're reporting it in, so that will be, it will actually accordion the form depending on which state you select. It will then ask you details about the actual incident as well, and when we get down to the bottom, what it will ask is this section here. Has debriefing been offered? Does this involve a psychological risk and a written prevention plan? And as I mentioned, here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. And it's important that when you're reporting on this, that your agency from 1st of July, in some states like Victoria, for example, you will need to actually report on any psychosocial risks to WorkSafe. And that's actually starting from the 1st of July. So where you see this in areas like Tasmania, Victoria is leading these on these particular reports to Safe Work, then by you having this information at hand, you're able to actually pull reports to say, right, yes, there was this incident form that has been lodged by one of our staff, actually related to exposure to traumatic contents or events, or in this case, for example, bullying. What it also gives you is the option to look at the requirements. So if I wanted to actually set this up, and let's say it was a bullying case, well, the requirement is remove the risk of bullying. And in this case, the outcome is training of all staff. And I'm going to send this to particular staff, which I can select. And then I can select because it's important, I want to get this done within the next day. So this will, once I save it, automatically send these out to key staff within your agency. And you can actually make sure that this stuff gets done. The status is that once the staff member completes it, the status will then be updated automatically on your incident form. So if you were ever audited by WorkSafe, or Safe Work, should I say, that you would then be able to show them, hey, look, this is what we've actually done to meet our requirements. Now, the other documents and legal templates that I've mentioned about was in regards to the policy documents. And this is a big one for agencies, especially where you look at these psychological laws and go, where do we start and what do I actually have in terms of policy templates that I can use immediately for my agency? So what we've done is actually in your Gemba Docs, if I click on this, what you do have access to is a whole series of template documents. Now, I can just simply click on Gemba Docs, and if I go into the legal templates, here it is here. There's a whole folder of psychological template documents. If I want to have a look at the psychosocial policy documents, I can click on that. And what in fact comes up, let me just bring this up here, is a policy document as well too. Now I can export this out into Word, enable editing on this document, and what we've got is literally you can search and replace and enter your agency name in, and you've got an psychosocial legal policy ready to go. And this really focuses on the obligations of your agency, obligations of your agency personnel, and obligations of other persons like visitors and contractors and the likes. The other part of the documents that we've also got on here, if you go back to the Gemba Docs, you'll see that we've got the Psychosocial Code of Conduct. And again, if I open this up, it'll download and you can access this document as well too. Here it is here, and I'll just wait for your screen to update. Here it is here. And it is literally a 54 plus 51 page document, which talks about all of your reporting risks as well too, your risk registers, but also actually explains, and we've taken this from Safe Work and updated it into some of the legal, added some of the legal areas that is relevant to not-for-profit agencies, which talks about psychosocial hazards, work health and safety, consultation, what the process is, looking at all of the different areas that we mentioned, so job demands, low job control, poor support, all of those informations that you're wanting here. And you can see it's a 52-page document that your agency can access. And we've kept it as a procedure, so this way you can actually quite simply jump in and start using it. And if you ever need to change it, then you can as well. The other part that sits alongside of this is also the training section of the dashboard. And you can access this by clicking on the Gemba College. And this is important for things like your work health and safety committees, if you have those, as well as other officers or general staff on understanding what their legal compliance obligations are. So if I click on Gemba College, again, this screen will open up. You can see we've even got child safe training on here as well. There we go. If I click on Gemba College, just wait for your screen to update. Here it is here. And you can see that we've got child safe training as well as NDIS management plan. These are resources that you can access. Now, if I click on the psychosocial laws, for example, what you will see here is our past webinars that, again, yourselves can access. And we have the details about the legal obligations, the administration and management, and also things like how to manage it and your obligations as a work health and safety administrator as well. So essentially on the Gemba dashboard, and someone's just mentioned about the risk register. This is really something that we'll cover off next week as well. But the risk register really focus, if I click on this, is really about your organizational board reporting risks, and you can generate your board reports directly from here as well. So the idea is that you can actually manage your complete incidents and risks on Gemba. Now, as part of this, the importance of the psychosocial laws, as I can show you, is that with this, there is the obligation on your agency, and let's be really quite clear here, is that it covers any factors in work design, systems, work management, carrying out of work or personal work-related interactions that may arise in the working environment and may cause an employee to experience one or more negative psychological responses that create risk to their health and safety. And this is particularly important as part of this definition of what it means for you. So essentially, your agency, in summary, must control the risks to the health and safety associated with psychological hazards. And that means trying to minimize as much as possible the risks to your employees. And essentially, even though there is some variation between the different legislation around the country, essentially it is aiming all to do the same thing as well too. So in that said, what we are suggesting that you do is look at the resources that we have provided and the definitions that come out. This is something that is being rolled out right across the country, which is why these webinars have been so popular. We will be looking specifically at the incident reporting and policy document next week. This was something that agencies have requested from us as well too. We will be resending out the logins to Gemba this afternoon, but if you do have any questions, by all means, please reach out. You can. My mobile has been provided over the last few years while we have been running these webinars. We started with the COVID webinars over the last couple of years, where we actually ran them at least more than once a week. That said, if you do have any questions, we will reach out to you throughout this week, and we will start today. I can see a few questions are coming up with specific questions on psychosocial issues as well too. I'm more than happy to stay online and answer any questions that you might have. But if you are watching this recording after today's live session, by all means, please reach out to us directly. You have our contact numbers here. And also I will add that if you do have any questions, by all means, also use our chat box on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen that you can see here. And you can also access this within the Gemba dashboard as well too. And our legal compliance support desk is here to help you.